Great. So you want me to start now?
Medyhne, I just want to welcome on behalf of everyone, and I know we organized this in a very short notice, and I know how frantically busy you are. You are international star. We are so proud of you on behalf of Australia, and thank you for everything you do. I know you since last year, and I personally, I just absolutely love you. I think you are a beautiful person, beautiful soul. Thanks for everything you're doing to help us, because we frankly need help. A lot of help. So everything you do is just highly appreciated. So I think majority of people know who you are here. You are artist, you are, songwriter, you're a beautiful healer, but I think I could never introduce you as good as yourself. So please introduce yourself, and I will just give you the stage.
Oh, thank you, Alma. That was really, really touching. Thank you. Really made me teary. It was lovely. Thank you. Thank you. I basically am an energy healer, spiritual worker, is my main thing I'm doing at the minute. And so I'm being really called on a divine soul mission at the moment to really put a lot of, obviously, healing out there with everything that's happening. I have other strings to my bow creatively and things. And I'm an author. I've had a book published and released around Australia, and songs that have gone out there and different things. But the really important part of my mission at the moment is to meet the demand of what people are requiring, and that is definitely to do with giving people tools and skills and sort of healing abilities to be able to navigate their way through what's happening at the minute, because it is so unique, and it's also so challenging, as we all know, transitioning really into a new earth. And I just want to say as a backup as well that you're talking a lot about the court and the legal system, and Australia is a really crucial place on the planet at the minute, because we are considered ground zero for what's going to emanate to the rest of the world. We're like a core birthing place for the rest of the world energetically. And so what's happening here is really, really crucial, and that's why we're having quite a sort of battle between the dark and the light at the minute. It's a battle between spiritual consciousness. And so thank you to everyone for everything that you're doing in terms of standing in your truth and your authenticity, and you're making a stand for everyone else when you step out of this situation that is not in alignment with the highest good for all concerned. You are trailblazing for everyone else. And so I really honor and acknowledge you all for that. I think it's brilliant what you're doing, and it requires a lot of strength and courage, and just really want to honor you all. So today I'm going to give you some helpful tips, I hope, that you can work with, that will help you navigate this time, metaphysical spiritual tools, and then I'm going to just run you through a meditation that I'm hoping might be helpful as well. So I'd like to start by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today throughout Australia, and pay our respects to the elders past and present. We extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. And I'd like to, there's a lovely little thing that I do when I'm working spiritually, is to set up temple space. And it's got a lot of different beautiful higher energies that I call in to work with. And so if it's okay, I might just run through who they are. If anyone wants a copy of how I set up temple space, and you resonate with any of these beings in your own spiritual practices, feel welcome to contact me, and I can send you a temple space PDF. But just perhaps close your eyes and just feel the different energies as they're coming in. And this is, I find a beautiful way to sort of work in sacred temple space. So I'd like to start by calling in the God creational energy. I like to call in the councils of the light for the Dolphin Star Temple at Mount Shasta, California. And I ask that they bring in the 27 diamond light pillars of light from the planes of light where the Ascended Masters dwell to create a sacred space around everyone today. A Dolphin Star Temple healing space of highest divine truth, wisdom, unconditional love, harmony, balance, clarity, grace, mercy, peace, compassion, abundance, where only those seeking these qualities may enter, and so it is. And I know the dolphins are working with me, because right where I live, I had 5 swim up to me the other day, huge dolphins, and just the beach where I live at, my rental, 5 swam right up to the shore and were swimming around the other day. So they know I'm working with them, and those energies are really helpful actually in the transition to the 5th dimensional realm at the moment that we're going through. I call in my own highest guides and teachers of love and light, the Pleiadian, Syrian, Andromedan, mysteries and archangels of light, to bring in the cones of light above and below this space. So these cones of light are evolutionary, intergalactic, and interdimensional, and they help to transmute lower vibrational energies. They help us align with our divine mission. And I also like to connect to an earth cone connecting to Goddess Gaia energy, nothing less, to really ground the energy and connect to beautiful Mother Earth. I call in Lord Buddha, Kuan Yin, Saint Germain, Jesus Christ, Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, some Egyptian energies, because due to Egyptian past life, I like to work with some Egyptian energies, Isis, Osiris, and Sekhmet. I call in Lord Ramas, Lord Melchizedek, St. Paul the Venusian, Hilarion, Sanat Kumara. I love to work with angelic energies as well, the Council of Elohim of divine grace, divine love, divine essence, divine beauty, divine truth, divine innocence. Please surround everyone here today. Mother Gaia, Mother Mara, Venus, Kamara, Lord Michael, and Legions of Michael and Michaela. So if you're needing energetically protection and you're feeling like you need to energetically protect yourself and your space, really good to call on Archangel Michael at the moment, and also his sword of truth. Lord Medyhne, we call in Archangel Gabriel, Raphael, Uriel, Ariel, Yophiel, Zadkiel, Shemiel, call in the healing angels and the unknown angels. So the unknown angels are the ones that are not assigned to any specific task, but you can still call on them. Calling in the Pleiadian medical team. They're a team of energy workers from the Pleiades who are working with our physical bodies and our health issues, and also helping us to transition into the 5D. I like to surround us with a beautiful Merkaba. The Merkaba is, again, a protective tool. And basically, if you sit yourself in a big Merkaba, it blinds the dark and they can't find you. So it's a very good energetic tool to work with. And I actually wear a Merkaba on my body a lot of the time, which is like a little rose quartz Merkaba around my neck. So that's a really great thing to work with at the minute as well. I call in Anastasia and the Healing Ray. So Anastasia, I don't know if you know the Anastasia Ring of Cedars books, but she's an amazing avatar working on the planet at the moment, from Russia, and her books have been read by millions. Calling 2 members of the karmic board, Serapis Bey, Toth, Katami, Lady Nada, Magdalene, Babaji, Lord Maitreya, Lord and Lady Sirius, Lord and Lady Acturius, Acturian temple workers, Venusian temple workers, Coronian temple workers. I call in the Sisterhood of the Rose of the Holy Grail to pour waters in and around our space, to seal the outside of the temple space with Lord Michael's sword of truth. Call in Merlin and Lady of the Lake, Elmora, Galactic Federation of Worlds, the Galactic Family of Light. Good to call in our galactic family at the moment to work with us. Calling in Solar Logos from the Central Sun, Temple of Divine Grace in Realms of Illumined Truth, the Alpha and Omega, the Transfiguring Flame of Divine Love. Another beautiful protective tool is Archangel Michael's Ring Pass Knot of God's First Cause of Perfection, which is like an invincible shield or circle of white lightning that you can place around you in your home or your space. And some other names are the Company of Heaven, the Legions of Light, and our I Am Presence, which is our higher self, so working with our higher self. So that's how I like to set up my space regularly. And another thing I like to say is I bless myself with purified love and light. I bless myself with purified divine source energy. So you might always want to say that. I bless myself with purified love and light. I bless myself with purified divine source energy. And so as we navigate through this period, which is an incredibly intense period right now that we're going through in this battle in this particular location between the dark and the light, is what it is really. There's a real important spiritual lesson that is being taught to us. One is empowerment, to stand in our power, because we're stepping out of enslavement practices that have been institutionalized and in place for thousands of years. And so we're individually and collectively stepping into our power and learning how to step off these corrupt control structures. So we're often getting individual lessons as well as collective lessons in this at the moment. And the other really important spiritual thing that we're mastering at the moment is the importance of being able to see what's going on around us, but staying centered and mastering the ability to stay in emotional neutrality and to be an observer, which is easy to say and harder to do, but it's being able to allow our emotions to be able to stay centered and not allow us to be sort of up and down and on a roller coaster and all over the place with everything going on, but being able to navigate the emotional body in a way that we're able to stay as neutral as possible. And the reason being that this 0 point energy in our energy field, when we can stay neutral, means that we can actually reset a whole new dynamic, a whole new paradigm, a whole new, fifth dimensional reality. When we're caught up in the emotional body and the anger or fear or anything like that, it keeps us in that 3D realm, which is the one we're trying to navigate our way out of. And it also means that we are going to be feeding in sort of, I don't know if you've heard the term loosh, but we're feeding the dark energies. They love all that, any sort of negative emotions and anything like that. So we don't want to be feeding that energy. So it's really important to have tools and techniques and strategies to be able to get back to that center, whenever we need it. And there are some tools, for example, like being really mindful of the energy that you're taking in. So, for example, if you're talking to someone and they're really dropping your energy, have clear boundaries and be able to disconnect, in kindness, and be able to just really be mindful of your energies and your boundaries at the moment, especially when you're already going through other things, anything obviously to do that drops our frequency and drops our vibration, to really disconnect and step back from, and be mindful of bringing in energies that only raise our frequency and vibration as much as possible at the minute. And so there are techniques like where you can become an observer to everything going on in your life, and this really helps you to stay in that neutral space. For example, and I might run you through a couple of practices now. These are really helpful. So I want you to imagine, everyone, that you're sitting on the top of a mountain, and this mountain is like a really high mountain peak. And you can imagine, for example, being in Tibet in the Himalayan mountains or something like that. It sort of has that energy to it when I work with it. And as you're sitting in this mountain and looking down in the valley below you, there's all these, it's basically the world is going on below you, but you are looking down on it from an eagle eye view, and you're able to maintain a quality of objectivity, of being able to be an observer, but not being part of. And that is the skill that you're wanting to sort of master a bit at the moment. It doesn't mean we can't have unconditional love and compassion for everyone around us, but it just means that we'll be more, we'll be able to do more and achieve more, and be more able to evolve on our own soul path if we're able to maintain a level of neutrality through this whole process. So that's one technique, when we can visualize ourselves on the hill looking down at everything going on in the life around us. The other technique for some people they relate to, which is being in a theatre and you're sitting in the wings and you're looking down at a play going on in front of you, but you're not part of it. You're non-attached. Basically, non-attachment is a really crucial lesson in mastery we're learning, which is, the Buddhist principle and philosophy that any attachment causes suffering and pain. So again, this technique of sitting in a theatre and looking at a play going on in front of you, which is your life and everything happening, but you are not attached. So these are two really good techniques to help us be able to practice that. The other things that are really important at the moment is to be able to be mindful of how much in the head we are, because the head is a mental body, our mind, us, the cerebral sort of way of being in the world keeps us in a lower frequency and a lower vibration. And so what we really want to try to do is bring the energy and the focus from the head into the heart center, the center of divine unconditional love. So when we're focused very heavily in the head, it's often based, it's trying to help us, it's trying to protect us, but it's a survival mechanism often, and it lowers our vibration, lowers our frequency, and it drops us into other things like anxiety and fear and things like that. So there's a beautiful technique that you can say where you say, I take the thoughts from my head, and then you put your hand on your heart and put them into my heart. So I might just get everyone just to try that and just see if you can feel the energy shifting. I take the thoughts from my head and put them into my heart. I take the thoughts from my head and put them into my heart. I take the thoughts from my head and put them into my heart. And we always say things 3 times for maximum, impact. So I don't know if you've noticed an energy shift when you do that, but it does actually, when you say it out loud too, you're signaling to your body, it's a body communication as well, that this is what you're wanting to do. So this is a really good thing to practice if you're in the head a lot, and being mindful of that. There are 2 basic polarities, fear and love. So if you're in fear, you can't be in love, and if you're in love, you can't be in fear. You can't be in both of those simultaneously. So when you're in fear or lower vibrational energies, really good to just go into the heart center, see a flame of divine unconditional love surrounding you, and centering yourself in that flame of divine unconditional love. And that's super helpful. But these are all things to be mindful of. So if you're just functioning unconsciously and in reaction to things, then you're not going to be able to practice these processes. So it really is about being mindful, and then you'll be able to practice these, and you'll notice that it gets much easier to navigate whatever happens in your life when you have these skills. The other important thing at the moment too is to make sure that you're grounding your energies. When we are in pain or suffering or trauma, we often go out of the body, we go straight up, spiritually speaking, and we disconnect from the earth. So this doesn't really serve us because you're not even in the body. So what you want to do is just mindfully ground yourself, take your shoes off and put your feet on the earth and earth your energy as much as you can at the moment. Do things like visualize grounding roots from your feet going into the earth, and also working with trees, so asking a tree for permission and then putting your back to a tree, and you'll notice your breathing changes, and you'll change and your breathing will actually adapt to the tree, and then you can ask the tree for healing. And some people just spontaneously cry as the tree helps them release anything that they've been holding. So these are amazing natural resources that we can tap into at the moment, and really it's important that we utilize all these with everything that's happening. The other is to, when you ground your energy, and you can visualize a grounding cord, for example, from your base of your spine wrapping around the core of the earth, mindfully asking to connect to the 5D earth now. We don't want to connect to the 3D earth because that's a lower vibration, and we want to actually draw in the 5th dimensional realm now. So asking to connect to the 5th dimensional realm is really important at the moment as well. And now I'd like to just discuss another thing that Alma mentioned that is a challenge for so many of us at the minute. And in fact, pretty much all the clients that come to me, like globally at the minute, are saying that this is happening to them. So when we have incarnated as healers or light workers, we are often have chosen to go into spaces where there is a lot of unconsciousness, or a lot of beings who don't have the same level of consciousness as ourselves, and that's we purposely chose to come in these families and in these environments where we have a level of consciousness, of awareness about what's happening in the world. We have a level of perception that other people don't have, because they're at a different level of consciousness, and it's no judgment on them, but it's just that we all chose to do that. So that therefore means that often as we're navigating this current division that's happening through everything that's going on in the world, consciousness is becoming really, really clear now. Nothing is sort of hidden that was hidden before. And so as we notice that these people around us, and it's often our family members, they don't have that level of consciousness and they're making different choices. And so then we have to navigate how to deal with people around us that are choosing to take this when we know that it's not good for them, and things like that. And then often they're choosing not to communicate with us, speak to us, because we have a different philosophy. So this is all because we have chosen to incarnate now, to shift the paradigm, and we've chosen to, each of us light workers, to go into different areas where we're needed. And so we've all been generally separate until now, but the great thing is that we're also coming together as a spiritual family now. Through this, we're all finding one another and reconnecting, which is beautiful. But we're also noticing this sort of division that's happening. And so what I would say to that is that, you're not alone, because everyone's experiencing that at the minute, who is pretty much a healer or a light worker or someone who is awakened in a sense. And so ways that we can navigate that are, we can choose to connect in a process that is called soul conferencing. So if you can't connect to a family member or someone that you love on the physical because they're not wanting to connect, you can go in on the inner and you can connect to them at a soul level, speaking soul to soul, and then they will hear you. It's unconscious and subconscious, but it's indicated that people do hear you, because often when you do these soul conferencing, sometimes they can actually contact you in the physical because they feel it. So this is a really important technique to be working with anyone that you feel that you are losing a connection with, that you love, through everything that's happening. The other thing is, again, mastering that non-attachment, that we can still send them love and divine unconditional love and acceptance and forgiveness, but honor their path and their choices, and understand that as souls, we are never separate anyway. We're all connected. And after this all is completed and we move on to the next realm, we're all going to reconnect together anyway. So it's just knowing that this is rolling out in a way where people are making free will choices, and we have to honor those choices, whatever they are. And sometimes that means letting people go and surrendering. And when that's a really difficult role for what you're having to do, just feel yourself handing it up when it gets really heavy to the divine, and say, dear divine, please take this off me. It's too heavy. I'm surrendering this to you. Hand it up to the divine, and do all your techniques in your meditations, and having the metaphysical understanding of all this is absolutely essential, I think, to be able to get through that. So the other things that you can do, just make sure that you're releasing ego, attachments, cords, mindsets, and belief systems which no longer serve you. So, for example, when someone is connected to you but has a cord attached to you, sometimes that can create more suffering when they're dividing from you, or they're choosing to disconnect, but you've got a cord connected to them. So you want to make sure that you're as clear as possible with all those things as well. And if anyone wants to have a session with me, I do all this stuff in my session, feel welcome to contact me. But so that's just something. Some other anxiety busters are to be really present, really mindful of being in the present moment. So when you're in the future, you can go out of your joy and into sort of more negative emotions sometimes, or when you're in the past, the same thing happens. So just if you can envisage a timeline in front of your solar plexus, in the center of the timeline is the now moment, and to the right of the timeline is the future, to the left is the past. So you want to try and bring your energy right into the center of the timeline, right in front of your solar plexus. You can say things like affirmations like, I'm 100% right here, right now, because when you are fully present in the now moment, you can't really be in negative emotions, because that present moment is our joy, and it is really an important tool again to be able to navigate what's going on at the minute. So just being really mindful of where you are on that timeline and bringing that back into the center all the time. Other things that you can do to help are working with crystals, placing crystals on your body, listening to high frequency music. I've got a really, really beautiful piece of music here that you can actually download from a site, and it's a free download, and the music is extremely high frequency. I'm just going to put it in the chat now. The music's extremely high frequency. You can play it in your house, and it keeps, it actually clears the energy in your house, and it keeps your energy at a high frequency. If you do put it on initially and you find stuff comes up, it's actually dredging up, shadow stuff and some of our unhealed aspects to be transmuted through that frequency. So that can also happen. But it's lovely to be continually playing in the background, and you can even play it at a really low level to subconsciously listen to while you're sleeping. So it's very beautiful. I've just put it in the chat. And so what I want to do now is I'm going to just run you through a meditation. And this meditation is one that can be really helpful for being able to cut out all the external noise and go inward. We're all being encouraged to be our own internal sort of to function from a state of our internal space as opposed to anything external now. It's really an important time because there's so much information out there. If we don't do that, we're going to be all over the place because we won't know what to connect to, because there's so much information that is competing and doesn't match up. So we're really being encouraged to be our own internal guide and internal barometer. So this is a beautiful meditation to be able to help with connecting to your inner guidance. And this is something that is again really, really important at the moment. So this is called the Inner Advisor. So I just want you to take a few deep breaths and just center your energy. And I might put on some lovely, this music that I'm talking to you about. I'll just put that on quietly as well. Okay, so we're allowing yourself now to forget about all the cares and concerns of life and the world. Just turn that down a bit. And to go within. Become aware of your breath and feel how every breath you take makes you twice as relaxed as the breath before. So breathing deeply. And just releasing everything from the day. Mentally affirm, I go within, I go within, I go within. Visualize yourself breathing in golden light, allowing this golden light to permeate every cell, every organ, every limb, every chakra of your being. As you become one with the golden light, your mind and emotions are calmed, soothed, and at peace. You're finding yourself more and more peaceful and relaxed. Now I want you to go to your quiet place. This quiet place is a place where you feel safe. It may be a place you know already or an imaginary place. It's a quiet place where you feel peaceful and serene. Just allow yourself to go there now and let yourself be in that space. Where are you? Sense the beauty and colours of your quiet place. When you have been there for a time, just explore aspects of this place. How are all the elements there? The water, the fire, the air, the earth. If it is sunny, feel the sun on your skin, the sounds of nature. Whatever is there to see or feel, allow yourself to see and feel it. Feeling rejuvenated and regenerated as you relax in your quiet space. And now, when you are ready, I would like you to allow yourself to invite your inner advisor to come and stand before you. Allow an image to form to represent your inner advisor. The inner advisor is a wise, kind, and compassionate being that can take any form it chooses. It may be an image, it may be a feeling, or simply a sense or impression. Allow it to come forward now, and as it does, allow yourself to examine it closely. Just take a few minutes for you to do that. What is it? What form does it take? Perhaps it is a light or a colour. Let yourself examine it fully. If you need to, ask it to come closer so you can get a fuller sense of it. It's always good to ask, are you of the light? Just make sure that the feelings that it brings are ones of raising in frequency, just so that you know this is a benevolent energy. Whatever it is, simply let yourself explore it and be open to its presence. Be aware it has come to help you with the issue which you are going to work with today. So think about something that you would perhaps like to ask your inner advisor. Maybe this is something that's been something you've been working with in your life at the moment, or you have a question that you'd like to ask it. Or maybe you just like to allow it to connect with you and dialogue with you freely. So now I want you to ask if there's anything it wants to say or tell you. And then you can listen to what it says or see what it has to show you. Just give you a few minutes to do that. If there is anything you are unclear about, express this and ask for clarity. And find out if there's anything the image wants to ask or show you. Listen or look at what it is. Now I'd like you to become this image and look at yourself through the eyes of the image. How does yourself appear to the image? Ask the image to tell you what it has come to share with you today. What is most important at this time? Finishing this dialogue with your inner advisor, you can ask how you can meet this inner advisor again. Would it like to connect with you again? If so, how often would it like to connect? Make a commitment to your inner advisor to reconnect again if needed. Return to your quiet place when you're ready after you've said your goodbyes, and allow yourself for a minute just to integrate what has happened in this meditation today. Breathing deeply. And just putting new grounding roots from your feet into the earth, and a new grounding cord in, wrapping around the core of the earth, the fifth dimensional core of the earth. And when you're ready, opening your eyes. Thanking all the temple space workers and the divine for their help with us today. Thank you for their presence. Thank you, everyone. I hope that's helpful. And I don't know if you'd like to ask for any feedback, Alma, if anybody was able to connect or. But,
that was amazing, absolutely amazing. I just want to ask if, well, firstly, thank you so much. That was, I took, in between all of this, with closed eyes, then open eyes, I took a lot of notes and took a lot in, but I need to listen probably again. Before we go with the questions, I just want to ask everyone, are you still okay with the questions to be recorded? If not, I can finish recording now and then we can do the questions afterwards. I just would like to hear what everyone would feel.
Yep, absolutely fine.
You're fine? Anyone has any objection to be recorded? Because this is going to go on Medyhne's YouTube as well as people's voice BitChute. So anyone has? No? Okay, that's great. So we can continue. I have lots of questions, but I'll leave others, Medyhne, to ask the questions, and then I'll ask questions last. Thank you so much for everything.
Oh, you're so welcome. And thank you for the lovely reading the chat group. So thank you, everyone that's left a message. It's really beautiful. Kimberly and Valerie and Gemma and Catherine and Valeria and MD. You're so welcome. Thank you.
Such a beautiful session, Medyhne. It was like the explanation of and the tools that you started off with, and then to end with that meditation. I was the same as Alma. I was in and out writing notes and stuff, but the vision, the things I saw, wow, you've got a really good team.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Well, it's all your teams as well. We're all connecting together. Thank you. Yeah, it's a divine just coming through and helping, because, you know, there is a thing as well, I will say too, that when you're walking in integrity on the earth plane and you're doing the right thing and you're expressing your authentic truth, you get so much spiritual support. You get all, I've got getting a lot of tingles as I'm speaking, you know, all your team will be with you, working with you and supporting you like never before. So you're going to get this most amazing energetic and spiritual support from upstairs right now.
And it's also I'm finding it every day. It never ceases to amaze me that you can now hear the voice of honesty and integrity a lot louder amongst the noise than ever before. So when someone speaks within a couple of minutes of being near them, you can actually hear that ringing so loudly. It's just
that is a brilliant point, because we're honing all our skills now, and we're actually increasing all our spiritual gifts as the earth is ascending and the planets are ascending, the more light comes down. We're actually activating more and more of our spiritual abilities and gifts, and so we're becoming more telepathic, we're becoming more tuned in, more intuitive, and it's just an escalation of all these things. So it's actually an incredible opportunity as a soul in our accelerated soul growth. It's amazing.
Thank you. It was wonderful. I'll let someone else ask questions. Is there anyone else?
While everyone thinking of the questions, I'll ask one question. Maybe they will prompt others after Kimberly to ask questions. You mentioned, Medyhne, that if we can't speak to family members, we can speak to them on a soul level.
Yes.
How do we do that?
Oh, that's a great question. Okay. So what I encourage people to do is center themselves in their heart center, in the center of divine unconditional love. You can visualize like a flame, and then it expands around you, and then going to your favorite place in nature that you love, or your quiet place, and just centering your energy there first. Of course, calling in your spiritual team as well, surrounding yourself with them. You know, your angels, for example, your spirit guides, obviously the divine, call them all in. And then what I would encourage people to do is you can choose to connect to a person's earthly self and call them in to stand in front of you. But often if they're on the earthly level, on the three-dimensional level, if they're not wanting to connect with you, it's often a good idea to call in their higher self. So you call in their higher self to come in and present themselves in front of you, and you have the dialogue with them there, and you express all the things that you want to say that you haven't been able to say in the 3D physical realm, because it's extremely cathartic and liberating, and also they do hear you. So it's a way of being able to continue communicating with them when you can't do it on the other levels. And they're also much more open, of course, if it's their higher self coming through, and you can dialogue with them, talk to them about how can we, you know, navigate this together? How can we have a better relationship? What can we do to support one another? You know, you can ask all sorts of questions like that, and it's amazing what comes through. It's really, really helpful. And also you don't have that sense of sadness and you know, grief that you're not connecting with them, because you are still connecting with them. And in fact, you know, the reality that we live in, the 3D reality, is an illusion anyway. So it's just as powerful connecting with them in truth in that way as it is on the 3D realm.
So do we ask our higher self to connect with their higher self on their level? Is that what you're saying?
No, you just talk from yourself. You don't have to talk from your higher self. You just talk from yourself to them, because you're the one wanting to connect. So you can just freely, connect with them. But I would probably recommend for people that are not wanting to connect with us, or they're disconnecting, calling in the person's higher self, because they will be much more open to the communication.
And how do we know when they're appeared? Because I've never experienced or done that. How do we know their higher self is actually talking to us? Because I talk to myself all the time. So I don't know, is this me talking to myself or somebody else talking to myself? I have no idea. But how do I know if I call higher self of my family member that they are the ones talking to me?
Well, there's two aspects to this. Firstly, you can ask them to come forward and present themselves. And if they don't actually physically, where you can actually see them present themselves in front of you in that way, so that you can do the dialogue in that way, you just put the intention out there that you're connecting on a soul level, and you have the dialogue. Even if you can't see them, you have the dialogue, and then you just trust and release and let go, knowing that it is done. You thank guidance and source that it is done, and then you trust. So yeah, the intention is enough.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure. Any other questions?
Guys, this is your unique opportunity to ask Medyhne.
Oh, sorry, I was having trouble unmuting myself, but I do actually have a question for Medyhne. Firstly, thank you so much for that meditation. It was just delightful, something I really needed at this time of the evening. Medyhne, I really wanted to ask if you could give me some advice on how we can support our youth, who I really believe are very confused at the moment and also very overwhelmed about the future that they're walking into. There would have been a time when, if you're in year 12 and you had that prospect of, next year I'm going to be at university, or whatever it is that they were going to take on, they actually don't have that sense of certainty because they feel that it might be interrupted. I'm seeing a lot of very distressed young people. Could you offer some advice as a way of grounding them?
Absolutely. I know exactly what you mean. It's like they're like a bridge to the new earth, the new energies, but they're not sure how to create that bridge or be that bridge. And yes. The difficulty is that, we've never been through this sort of transition as a planet and as a species before collectively. So it's a completely new territory for everyone. But I think with the youth of today, what we really need to encourage them to do is to, connect inwardly with themselves, to be able to envision the earth that they want to create, and to be walking forward in steps towards, how do you want the world to look? What would you contribute to the world if you had a magic wand and you could do whatever you wanted, and it was not a question of money or anything like that? What would inspire you? What would motivate you? What would be your passion? I have a young boy at our work, and he was doing HSC, and he didn't want to get this, so he's actually just chosen to leave school before the end of the year, HSC, and he wants to be a filmmaker, and so I've been talking to him about making films and how he's going to do that, and just inspire their passions in that way, get them to reconnect to what's important to them, and to also, I guess, the influence of technology and mainstream media and things like that are all quite nefarious at the moment. So just being able to get them to focus on other things, it would be fabulous if they went out in nature, for example, and clear their energy, but trying to prize them off their computers and just
it would be, that's right,
thing altogether. But I just think give them a hope of what this, we're going into a new world actually, and all this is deconstructing at the moment, so that we can step forward in a new world. And so this transition process is the birthing pains, like the birthing pains of a mother before a baby's born. There's it feels very painful and it's challenging, but when the baby's been born and we're getting to that new phase, you'll be able to do whatever you want in the world, and we won't be bound by an enslavement system where you have to create money 9 to 5, 5 days a week in order to just survive, and it's going to be completely different. It's going to be beautiful, and you're going to be here for this. So what do you want to do? What are you inspired by? And get them to be actively working towards these goals if they can. I think that's really important, getting them tapping into their passions and what's important to them.
Yeah. Great, thank you. That's a great response. Thanks, Medyhne. Thank you.
So welcome. Thank you.
Does anyone else have any more questions for Medyhne? No.
I'll just have one more. Sorry, I'm waiting for everyone else to ask questions, but I will fill in. And please, guys, ask questions. Medyhne, you said you work with the crystals. I've got a lot of crystals on my desk, and I use different ones. Depends on my mood. What sort of crystals do you use, or would you suggest, like for the cleaning energies and getting high vibration? Because I must admit, I go up and down. And today's session was fantastic, because whilst I'm trying to have my high vibration, what's happening kind of around me and the reality does bring me down, especially because I talk to people every day about their problems. So what sort of crystals would you use just to clear up the energy and high vibration?
Sure, and the first thing I say to that is that's just like everyone can pretty much say what you're saying. I mean, it is realistically a bit of a roller coaster, because when you see what's going on, and then you have to have a balance with the information that you take in as well. Otherwise, it can be really overwhelming. And so, we can relate to that, and be kind on yourself. When you're going through that, don't be sort of judging yourself or criticizing yourself, because you are going up and down too. We're releasing all self-judgment here, because we're already masters actually to be incarnated on the earth at this time through this transition. Many souls wanted to come in and were told they were not able to, because they didn't have the abilities or the capacities to be able to navigate this successfully. So we're already on some level masters to be here. So I want everyone to remember that. So
I'm happy to swap.
No, you're needed. Crystals, a good question. So the black crystals protect our energy field, so they're very good for protecting things, also against like radiation and things like that, the black crystals. So it is sometimes good to have some black crystals on your body, so you're not absorbing energies out there. And I have a few of them that I wear and things like that. The other crystals that are really good to work with at the moment are rose quartz crystal, because it's opening our heart chakras. We're all learning to step into our heart chakra and expand our love and our hearts. And so the rose quartz crystal helps with that. And again, it helps you step out of the polarity of that, which is fear, and be centered, staying centered in love. So the rose quartz is really important for that. And then you've got the amethyst, which is a very, spiritual, high vibrational crystal that helps us connect to our higher self, to connect to the divine, so that's a really fabulous one to work with. And, pink and green crystals, again, they're heart chakra crystals, and we're really wanting to emphasize staying in our heart center through this process. So I think there's some of the main ones. And then, of course, if you're an activist, or you're someone who wants to get the word out, spread the truth, things like that, you're working with your throat chakra, and that would be blue crystals. So you've got things like turquoise and moonstone, and those blue crystals, particularly turquoise is a great one. I remember.
Oh wow, I don't have a problem with that one, but the rest of it, this is amazing. That's interesting what you said, because we had a picnic yesterday with the group, and I picked up the rose quartz intuitively to have around. I didn't even know why, but now I do understand. That's amazing.
And for the heartache, when we're disconnecting from family members and things, we can use that to help heal our heart chakra as well. So it's very beautiful at the moment to have a lot of rose quartz around you, and it's good for relationships, with partners as well, and all that sort of thing.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Wow, Medyhne, what a fabulous night. Thank you so much. I think we've got so much from having you here, but I do need to ask, is there anything we can do to help and support you as a group? Is there anything that we can offer you?
Oh, that's really beautiful. Oh, I haven't actually thought about that.
Is there anything you need for your path at the moment, for your website, is there anything that you're doing that a bunch of nurses, doctors, allied health people could potentially help? You may not have an answer right now, but the offer's extended for if you have a bit of an afterthought.
Oh, that's really beautiful, Kimberly. I come here as part of my universal service to contribute. And I wasn't expecting anything in return, and I really appreciate your beautiful offer. If anything comes to me, I'll let you know, but I can't think of anything. But, you know, it's an honor to work with you all. And, you know, as I said earlier, you know, I really appreciate everything that you're all doing for the collective, because every time we stand up and make a difference in this way, it has a huge ripple effect.
I think all of us here acknowledge that none of us are doing it alone. We're all doing it together every day.
Yes. Oh, beautiful. Thank you, Kimberly.
Thank you.
Thanks, Medyhne.
Thank you
It's
so
been
much.
wonderful
Thank you.
having you here. Thank you so much for the generosity of your time. You really have given a lot of it. Thank you.
Oh, you're very, very welcome. Thank you, everyone. It was beautiful.
So I think, guys,